from. I don't care who you are, as long as you can deliver. You know, until Nigerians will make themselves become like small children, as in the Bible, they will not go anywhere. You know why I'm saying that?
Just hold on,
okay.
just hold your thoughts. So we'll take a moment and come back. Then we'll get to that point where, until we make ourselves like little children, we'll not get to anywhere. Please don't go away. Welcome back. We've been joined during the break by Mr. Biodun Shomi, a social commentator. Thank you for joining us.
I'm pleased to be here.
Okay. Before we come to you, Mr. Chief Honorable, sorry. You were talking about until we become like children, as recommended in the Bible, we may not see the light tomorrow.
Yes, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, growing up, I'm sure all of us had that experience. When in school, secondary school, you knew the most beautiful girl. You knew the man that can debate, the best debater. You knew the best mathematician. You knew the thugs. Everybody on merit. There was no issue of lobbying, no issue of, say, when it's time to dance, dancing competition, we knew those who could flip, break dance and all that. So it's settled. Until we adopt that process, we will not go anywhere. Everything should be merit.
But you know, the federal, the issue of, let me take this to Mr. Shomi. The issue of federal character, he's saying until we need to take our federal character and look at merit, because that is one way to go to help in building unity. But the federal character was initially brought in to help build unity.
Yeah, precisely. The law in principle, the federal character principle, is quite right, because you need to ensure representation. You cannot have a multi-ethnic nationalities, you know, grouping up as a country, and then not ensure that you don't have full representation by all components. Because
so what happens to the issue of merit? What happens to merit?
That's the point.
Of this?
That is the point. No. What you see is that you find a situation where the majority can dominate the minority. Is to ensure that whether they have, whether on merit or not, except we are saying that we are not all latently gifted. In every single nationality, in every single community, you have people who can do what other people can do. And therefore, in order to ensure that a dominant power, whether in terms of majority or in terms of population or in terms of holding force of coercion, you know, is not able to perpetuate itself in power unchallenged, then you need to bring in the issue of representation. How do you ensure representation? After all, when you look at the entire global system, including the United Nations, there is what they call representation, you know, that the key people must participate in every single activity or debate, be it a peacekeeping, be it a resolution. You ensure that all the communities who are aggrieved are represented. That is how things are settled internationally, because we are all latently gifted. There is no community in this country today that do not have, you know, their own experts in whatever field of human endeavor, or have gifted in one way or the other.
So why hasn't this helped us in building the unity we're talking about in the country?
Precisely because the structure of the country is faulty in the first instance. You know, so we're not practicing true federalism. Okay. We are not. Until we go back and look at that structure, which is faulty, you cannot have superstructures on faulty structure. And that is the problem which we face in the country. We need to now go back and look at why is it that we're not practicing federalism the way it's supposed to be. We have what they call unitary federalism in Nigeria today, which is a new concept. And that's not the idea when those founding fathers, you know, did put the constitution together. So, I mean, how do you explain a situation where the federal government, for instance, control the budget of federal government on agriculture is more than the entire 36 states of the federation, yet the federal government does not control the land? It's the states that own the land. So why don't you devolve that so that the states that control the land can also have the money? You know, because the federal government cannot do anything without asking for the permission of the states. They need to get the land first. So why not devolve that? How do you explain a situation where mines, even in your own community? Let me give you a good example. Osun State is one of the poorest states in Nigeria, but Ilesha is sitting on gold. But they can't just tap it without federal approval. It's only the federal government that has the authority to do that.
So
we need
in Osun.
Precisely.
And the state needs money.
They need money,
but they can't touch the gold.
They can't. Same thing with power generation. What's the problem? We have the federal government telling us the power requirement is 10,000 megawatts. That's the target. You know, the current government and past governments have always been telling us 10,000 megawatts since the days of Bakoro. Lagos alone, we need more than 10,000, megawatts. So how do you explain that? And Lagos is not allowed, or River State or Kaduna State, they are not allowed, to go into power generation and distribution because it's exclusive federal government control. So what they do is whatever they produce, they feed it into the system.
They'll tell you there's a certain limit to which they can. They are allowed at least, I think, 1 megabyte of megawatt of power. That's what they're allowed. You want to just
limitations, and they don't help. I was going to say that the way we implemented federal character in Nigeria, it destroyed merit. Unfortunately, we couldn't go far because they were not bringing in the first 11, if you know what I mean. And I've always been saying that for as long as our last 11 are leading our first 11, what we are seeing is what we'll be seeing. Unfortunately, over the years, it's been the same thing. If we can go back to regionalism, what is being called federalism now, I will talk about Awolowo because I studied Awolowo and I can tell you the wonders he performed in the old South, Western Nigeria. Today, what we have as 5 or 6 states now was just a state managed by one man, one intelligent man, focused man who knew what was to be done. There is nowhere today in Nigeria that you can see any of our states coming up with laudable projects of Awolowo's class. Okay? Despite the fact that today technology is a lot more on our advantage, on our side. It pains to remember that Ibadan had television before France. Okay? To start with.
And that's something that a lot of the younger ones don't.
Yes, Ibadan had television before France. I can say that anywhere. You can check on you can Google it. Now, Cocoa House was built from earnings from cocoa, and that was why they named the place Cocoa House. No state has done anything near Cocoa House, But what do you find? Projects that will not stand the test of time, roads that will be constructed that will not last, and they are there everywhere. That's why I always say that the beauty in the number of Nigerians, of course, the crowd that we have here is good for any economy. But let's devolve so that the state's action can be more at the state level and, of course, local government level. As it is now, I cannot point at any government anywhere in Nigeria that is doing anything worthwhile. Where I come from, it's a shame. I have had to go and contest to be council chairman to show them how it can be done. I told the guy, I said, look, write out all the roads that need to be made here, all the health centers, all the schools. We will get people who will sponsor them, renovate them. We can even name the places after them as an inducement. But the guy was asking me, okay, if they are bringing the money for renovation, where did they? I said, they will pay the contractors, not you. Because of that, it didn't make it work. Okay. And that's what we get everywhere.
Okay, now let me just chip in on this issue of federal character and all that. Federal character is a kind of, will I say, a kind of escape. We're trying to escape from reality. Now, if you devolve power and there's autonomy to the regions, what do most people, what do they need, what are they looking for in Lagos? What are they looking for in Abuja? Everything is so centralized. Now, if there is regionalism, or will I say the states have they have autonomy, then you can